The restaurant was alive with chatter, laughter, and the soft clinking of glasses, but for Daniel, the single father working as a waiter, every sound blended into one overwhelming blur. He was exhausted, his shirt sleeves rolled up, his hands trembling from fatigue, his mind weighed down with bills piling at home. His little daughter, Emily, had just been sent home from school with a note. If tuition isn't paid, she cannot return. As he rushed between tables, balancing a tray of expensive wine glasses he could never afford, his world suddenly collapsed in slow motion. The tray slipped, the deep red liquid splashing across the white silk dress of the most powerful woman in the room. The billionaire CEO everyone whispered about. The restaurant fell silent, gasps filled the air. Daniel froze, his heart hammering in his chest, knowing he'd probably just lost his job, the only thing standing between his daughter and the streets. But then, instead of anger, instead of fury, the billionaire CEO looked at him, her eyes burning not with rage, but with something no one expected. Her next words shocked everyone. Before we continue, if this story already has your heart racing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness, where we bring you stories that inspire hope, strength, and compassion. Your support keeps these stories alive. Story development. Daniel's hands shook as he fumbled with napkins, his voice breaking with apologies. "I'm so sorry, please forgive me," he stammered, already imagining the manager storming toward him, demanding his apron and keys. He thought of Emily's sleeping face last night, curled against him, her hair messy, her tiny hands gripping his shirt as though he was her whole world. He couldn't lose this job. But the woman, Victoria Hayes, CEO of one of the largest real estate empires in the country, didn't scream. She didn't throw the wine-stained napkin at his face. She simply lifted her chin, looked straight into his trembling eyes, and said softly, "You look like a man who hasn't slept in days. Tell me, what's really going on?" The room buzzed with shock. Guests whispered, waiters froze mid-step. The manager hesitated at the corner, unsure of how to proceed. No one expected kindness. Daniel's throat tightened. "Please, ma'am, I need this job. I'll pay for the dress, I swear." Victoria's lips curved into something like a smile. "This dress costs more than your entire salary for a year. And yet, I don't care about the dress. I care about why you're standing here, looking like the weight of the world is crushing you." Daniel blinked, his vision blurring with unshed tears. He hadn't spoken about his struggles to anyone. Too proud, too ashamed. But something in her tone, something maternal and firm, yet compassionate, broke him. The words spilled out before he could stop them. "I'm a single dad," he whispered hoarsely. "My wife passed 3 years ago. My daughter, she's all I have. But her tuition is overdue, the bills keep coming, and this job, it's the only thing holding us together. I can't lose it. Please don't let them fire me." A collective gasp rippled through the restaurant. Diners turned their heads, stunned at the vulnerability in his voice. The manager began to step forward, ready to scold Daniel for speaking so openly in front of a customer. But Victoria raised her hand sharply. He froze. "Bring me another glass of wine," she said calmly, "and then take 10 minutes to breathe. After that, sit down with me. I want to know more about you." The staff looked as though they'd seen a ghost. Daniel himself could barely comprehend her words. Sit with her. Talk with her. The most untouchable woman in the city. The next hour changed his life forever. Daniel sat across from Victoria, hands still trembling, explaining his struggles. He spoke of Emily's laughter, her dreams of becoming an artist, the way she still asked at night if Mommy could hear her prayers. He admitted he felt like a failure, that no matter how hard he worked, life always demanded more. Victoria listened. She didn't check her phone. She didn't rush him. She listened like every word was worth a fortune. When he finished, there was silence. Then Victoria leaned forward, her eyes glistening. "Do you know why I became who I am, Daniel?" she asked. He shook his head. "Because I was once where you are. A single parent raised me after my father left us. My mother worked 3 jobs, cried herself to sleep, and yet never gave up. Do you know what I regret most in life? That she never had someone believe in her the way she believed in me. But tonight, I see her in you. And I won't let you fight this battle alone." Daniel's breath caught. The weight on his chest shifted, as though for the first time in years someone else had lifted part of the burden. The next day, Daniel was called into the manager's office, expecting termination. Instead, he was handed a letter. Inside was not just an apology from the restaurant, but also a check. His wages tripled. Attached was a note in elegant handwriting. A dress can be replaced. A man's dignity cannot. Use this to start breathing again. VH. But it didn't stop there. Weeks later, Victoria arranged for Emily's tuition to be paid in full. She offered Daniel flexible hours, and eventually she called him into her corporate office. "I don't need another waiter," she said, her tone firm yet warm. "I need someone who understands what it means to fight, to endure, and to care deeply for those who depend on them. I need someone like you on my team. Daniel, how would you like to be more than a waiter?" Daniel could barely speak. His world, once dark and crumbling, lit up in colors brighter than he'd imagined. The turning point, it wasn't an easy road. Daniel doubted himself constantly, learning new skills, balancing Emily's needs, and facing the whispers of people who said he didn't belong in such a high position. But every time he faltered, Victoria reminded him of something powerful. Strength isn't in never falling, Daniel. It's in rising every time life knocks you down. Slowly, he began to believe her. Emily flourished in school, her drawings taped across their modest apartment walls. Daniel began to walk taller, his eyes no longer burdened by shame but alive with hope. And one evening, months later, Emily tugged at his hand as they walked past the tall glass building of Hayes Enterprises. "Daddy," she said with wonder, "that's where you work. I'm proud of you." Tears filled his eyes. For the first time, he wasn't just surviving. He was building a future.